Well, it's time to pay the roofer now. So how does that work? What do? Do you pay him everything right away and then wait to get the money from the insurance company to reimburse yourself? Or do you wait to get the money from the insurance company before you pay the roofer? Hi everybody, this is Tracy Bookman, owner of Homestead Roofing, and this is episode number 7 in our series titled The 7 Things That You Need to Know About the Insurance Claim Process. And so we've kind of walked through the whole process. This is really kind of the end of the line. The job is all done. The insurance company's approved any supplements. The insurance company's approved your roofer's invoice. Now what happens? So we get questions from people frequently about this whole final payment process. They want to know, do they have to come out of pocket for that final payment and then wait for the insurance company to send them their money so that way they can kind of reimburse themselves? And they may have a concern about that because they may not have that much money available to be able to pay the roofer while they're waiting for the insurance company to send that additional money, the depreciation check. So keep in mind that not all roofers are going to have the same process. What I'm going to explain to you is the way that Homestead Roofing does it, but not every roofer is going to do things the same way. So if you're kind of at the beginning of the process where you're interviewing roofers or you're ready to start interviewing roofers, this is going to be one of the questions that you're going to want to ask. How do they handle the final payment? How do they require final payment to be made? And you can use that to help you determine which roofer you feel the most comfortable using. So what we do here at Homestead Roofing, and a lot of other roofers do the same thing, is when the project is all done, then we're going to collect all of our information and we're going to send that to the insurance company as an invoice. And the invoice is going to show the total cost of the project that we're charging to you, the homeowner, and it's also going to include any mid-project supplements that came up. So those are items of work that needed to be done that we didn't foresee when we did the estimate. So for example, if we tear off the shingles and we find out that something needs to be done either to the underlayment or to the decking, then that's, obviously we couldn't foresee that at the time because the shingles were on. That's going to be added as a supplement. So if you need information about supplements, go back and watch our video. Let's see, I'll link to that right up here. Watch our video about supplements, and that'll explain that whole process. Once we send in the invoice, then our office starts the process of following up with the insurance company to make sure that they've received our invoice and to make sure that they're paying the costs that are on our invoice. Now, once we have confirmed that the insurance company has received our invoice and that they're paying our invoice, then most likely they're going to create a revision of the claim document, especially if the final charged amount is different than the original estimated amount. They're going to have to create a new claim document. And so we're going to ask the insurance company to send us a copy of the revised claim document. They're going to send you a copy of that too. That's either going to come to you either in the mail or via email, or they might just release it, in your account. So if you have an account with your insurance company where there's a document storage, they'll put it in there. Now, this is kind of an important point because remember, if there's a difference in the final build cost compared to the original estimated cost, then that's due to mid-project supplements. And so once those are approved by the insurance company, like I say, they're going to add that to the claim, and that's going to produce a revised claim document that they're going to release to you. They may, kind of depending on the insurance company, they may go ahead and send that to us, but either way, your roofer needs a copy of that revised claim document, and here's why. If the roofing contractor is interacting with the insurance company and says, hey, did you receive the invoice? You did, good. Are you paying our invoiced amount? And the insurance company says, yep, all looks good. We're going to go ahead and release the final depreciation amount. There has to be some sort of verification for the contractor that the amount that he's charging you as the homeowner is actually the amount that's in the claim. And that's because when he gives you the final invoice, he wants to make sure that those numbers are matching, because if they tell the contractor, yeah, everything looks good, we're going to go ahead and release the final depreciation, and his invoice was here, but you know, they didn't come up to that. If there's a gap there, he's going to send you an invoice for his billed amount, and you're not going to have enough money from the insurance company to pay it, so you would have to come out of pocket. So the contractor needs to have a copy of that document so that he's not over or undercharging you. Now, here is a big warning, right? There should be bells going off, red flags flying. This is a big important note. If there is work in the claim that your contractor did not do, you definitely want to see a copy of his invoice, so that way you know whether or not he's billing the insurance company for work that he didn't do, which then would mean at the end of the process he's going to expect to be paid from you for that work. A really good example of that, it would just be something simple like replacing the furnace vent cap. That's virtually always included in the roofing category in your claim document. Now, replacing the furnace vent cap, you know, if there's just one, that's usually a really inexpensive item, maybe $65, something like that. Oftentimes the roofers don't replace that. So if that's included in your roofer's invoice, you want to make sure that he actually did that, because what you don't want to have happen is he invoices the insurance company for that. He's just using the total amount on the insurance claim for the roof, invoicing for that amount, didn't replace that furnace vent cap, then he's taking that $65 that isn't due to him. Something that's a little bit more substantial that, again, oftentimes roofers are not going to do because it's kind of more of a specialty trade, is replacing a chimney chase cover. Normally in your insurance claim, there's going to be $400 or $500 for that. And again, if the roofing contractor didn't do that, you don't want to be handing over $400 or $500 of your money to the contractor if he didn't do that work, and especially you don't want that to show up on his invoice to the insurance company if he didn't do that, because then that's falsifying his invoice. Now, there's another important note. If there's work in your claim that your contractor didn't do, and he's sending in his invoice for the roofing work or whatever, then most likely your insurance company isn't going to release any depreciation money for the work that he didn't do. A good example of that would be like you've hired a roofing contractor and your claim has replacement of the roof and replacement of some or all of your windows. Well, if your contractor only did the roof and didn't do the windows, then it's likely that your insurance company, when they receive the invoice for the roof, they're not going to release the depreciation money for the windows. And they shouldn't release that money, because they're probably going to be waiting to get an invoice for the replacement of the windows before they release that depreciation money to you. And it's going to work that way really with everything: windows, siding, painting, etc. Although, some of those things, painting, that kind of stuff, there's not going to be depreciation most of the time included on stuff like that. But you shouldn't expect to receive the depreciation money for those trades that your contractor didn't do. So while you're waiting for that final money to come from the insurance company, here's what you should be doing. You should examine the work that your contractor did for you. So if it's only the roof, well, you don't really need to get on your roof. That's not always safe. If you're okay with getting on your roof, by all means, get up on your roof and take a look at it. But examine the work that was done, because what you want to do is you want to take a look at it and see, are there any questions that you have about the project? Are there any little issues that you would like to have tidied up? Is there anything that you would like to have fixed before you would consider the project complete? So when you get the money from your insurance company, now it's time to pay the roofer. Again, like I say, every roofing company is going to have a different process about that. So you may have already paid your roofer, but if you're working with a contractor who doesn't collect the final payment until you get your insurance funds, now is the time to pay your roofer. But be sure that you're only paying him the amount that's on his invoice. One thing you don't want to do is just sign that check over to the roofer and hand that over to him unless that check is for the exact amount that you still owe. So if you get a check and it's for over the amount that you owe to the roofer, do not sign the check over to him. So at this meeting when you're doing the final payment, this is also probably going to be the time when you're going to have to pay for any supplemental work that came up during the project that maybe your insurance company isn't paying for. Probably is going to be the time to finish paying or pay for any upgrades that you decided to purchase when you signed the contract. But at this meeting, when the roofer's there to collect the final payment, this is the time when you want to bring up those questions or the issues that you noticed when you did your examination of the roofing work. So this is the time, go ahead and ask the questions, get the answers that you need, point out the things that you would like to have addressed. If there are things that need to be fixed, point those out. One thing that I'm going to make mention of is do not hold that final payment as leverage to get the roofer to do those things unless the things are major. So for example, if it didn't pass inspection by your local jurisdiction, if there's shingles that are flapping or shingles that are missing, or drip edge that is missing or hanging, or the gutters, all kinds of different things. If there's something major, then yeah, you can kind of use that final payment as leverage. But if there's just some minor things, don't use that as leverage. Most contractors are going to have in their contract something that states along the lines that no warranty work is going to be done until payment has been received in full. So if you've got something that you want done, your roofer really has kind of a leg to stand on to say, well, once we receive payment, we're going to go ahead and do that, because you don't want to put your contractor in a position where he's wondering whether or not you're going to string him out to just keep having all these little things addressed, and he's not going to receive his payment right away. So go ahead and pay your roofer. If you did your due diligence at the front of the process, interviewing different roofers, and you chose the one that you feel the most confidence in, you're not going to have a problem with a roofer taking advantage of you and not coming back and fixing things that you want to have done. One last thing. So once you've made your final payment, make sure that you get an invoice from the contractor that shows a zero balance on it. And you want to make sure that you get a copy of the contract, as well as copies of any of the change orders that came up during the project. And keep all of those documents in a safe place, because those serve as your warranty, both your workmanship warranty and also your manufacturer's product warranty. Then if you ever sell the house, those papers should really go to the new owner, because they're specific to the property. So at the sale of the house, go ahead and turn those documents over to the new owner. Now again, I know that this is probably a lot of information, but I hope it's been helpful for you. I hope it's answered some of your questions. If you do have any other questions though, feel free to call us at this number right up here, 719-433-6991. You can also visit our website. That's right down here, homesteadroofingcolorado.com. We have a ton of information out there. Be sure also to check out the other 6 videos in this series, because this is the last video of 7 that talk about the insurance claim process. If you like the video, give us the big thumbs up. Also, if you want us to address any questions that you have in a video, leave those in the comments section down below, because we read and respond to all questions that we get on our videos. Subscribe to our channel, click the bell icon up there so that way you get notified when we've got new videos. And until our next video, I'm Tracy Bookman, owner of Homestead Roofing.